Wonder Woman Dead Earth issue 1, Daniel Warren Johnson, both writing and doing the art. So another oversized book. This is a post-apocalyptic world where Diana wakes up after being in cryosleep or whatever, after a long stretch of time. And wakes up in a post-apocalyptic Gotham. She's in the Batcave. This group of characters sort of stumble into her because they're hiding from like a beast. There's been mutations, in the post-apocalyptic world.
Yeah, they think there was a nuclear fallout event, but they don't actually know for sure.
Well, they say it's been so long ago that it's all kind of hearsay and just kind of legend now.
Yeah, and the people who did live and survive and knew what happened refused to write it down or really share the story properly because it was too horrific.
Which we may get like more of that later. We may get more reveals, but do you know what's so fair about this is that like at the start of almost at the very start of the book, because I knew very little about this before I started reading it, and as soon as it started and she woke up, I went, "Is Themyscira okay? Can she go to Themyscira?" So I kind of chuckled, not in a bad way, but I chuckled at the end when the end of the book is her turning around saying, "No, there's a place where we can go. Like there's a place that should be okay, and that's Themyscira."
Which means it's almost definitely not, right?
Very probably. But this issue is basically them finding her, and one of them dies. One of them does her best to like sort of help. She takes one of Batman's belts and like some old armor and stuff, and kind of like does a makeshift kind of outfit. Goes with these younger sort of scavengers, who we find out are kind of ruled by this kind of overlord dude. I think kind of like not like the exact same type of character, but like in The Walking Dead, how you'd have these factions. You might have someone like Negan who's like in control. Here you've got this guy who wants like offerings and will just take a woman as his wife because he wants to, and things like
Honestly,
that.
I think a better example would have been for Mad Max Fury Road.
Sure, okay, yeah, that's a fair comparison. But these kids, even though they're kind of decent people from the sounds of it, they syringe Wonder Woman and kind of hand her over as an offering. And Wonder Woman does forgive them though, and she's like sort of made to fight in gladiatorial combat essentially, with probably the most contrived part of the book, which is the beast she ends up fighting is actually a mutated cheetah.
Yep. And which tells us that okay, maybe it hasn't been ridiculously long, or maybe cheetah can just live longer. Who knows? I do like the design of this mutated cheetah though, because the actual head is on her arm, and then her face has got this big sort of like, it's almost like the Joker smile, but only on one side. It kind of looks like Doomsday though, right? Because it's like with the bones protruding out.
Yeah, but it's like her teeth. It's like this extended mouth going up the side of her face, but only on one side. It's kind of an interesting design. But these beasts attack this camp. The only thing I didn't really like about this part of it really was just they've got this many people to fill an arena to watch this fight. That feels a bit weird.
I mean, to be fair, it did tell us this is like one of the last cities, so it makes sense that they all congregate here behind these big stone walls. So I was like, okay, I'll buy it. These
beasts come charging in. The guards are having trouble. Of course, when they get in, Wonder Woman starts fighting them, and it essentially turns the tide to victory. So everyone kind of like falls in line with her. She throws the former leader in her old cell, and this is where she makes a big speech about going to Themyscira, and that's kind of where the story leaves off. I thought this flowed quite well. I think, for a book that's like, triple page count versus a regular issue. It's like
44 pages of story or something like that.
Yeah, it reads pretty quickly because it doesn't overword the thing. There's very few pages where I felt there was a lot of text. There was a lot of like really just that will tell it in the art.
One of those examples where this is, the writer and artist are the same person, and they know exactly what they want to achieve with their art, and they know exactly whether or not they're achieving that, and if they need extra dialogue or not.
Yeah, so it becomes, it's this journey with these kids. We kind of get to know them a little bit, and I'd say the art's good. It's not necessarily my favorite style of art, but I think it's very consistent in.
Yeah, I think there are people here who will hate this art, and because of the style, it's very different to some of the stuff.
Yeah, that's so. I started reading it. I didn't get to finish it, and I saw the page count and crunch for time. But I was not enjoying the art from the pages I read.
Personally, I was really into it. I think it's the colors that really help get me into it here. I don't know if he's doing his own colors as well, or someone else doing that. Mike Spicer doing the colors. I think that it does a great job of kind of bringing it to life for me.
Yeah, it was one of those things where like. I would never necessarily pick this for like an in-continuity Wonder Woman book, or even an in-continuity any DC book really, but for its own kind of world. This is the sort of art I expect on like an Image book that's like creator owned, and it's just set in this own world, and that's all it is. But for lack of a better, that's essentially is, even though it's coming from a DC
it's
property.
playing with Wonder Woman, sure, but it is essentially a creator-owned story in the sense of just do what the hell you want, we don't care.
So, I don't know, it was not bad though. Like, I was kind of like, we're at this point now where we've got so many of these Black Label books and some of them are so high quality that this does feel kind of like more middle of the pack, but middle of the pack for this is actually really good at this point.
I actually agree with that. I think this is on the lower end of the scale of Black Label books that we've tried, but it's still really good. And I had a blast reading it, and I'm definitely intrigued to see more.
Yeah, I might read this shit too, and I feel like I didn't really know who Daniel Warren Johnson is, but all of a sudden I'm like,
now if I see a book by him, I might check it out if it's got a premise I'm half interested in.
I thought it worked. I thought it went in nice and quickly, especially good given the page count, and did enough to make me kind of care about some of these new characters who are kind of struggling
about the world and what other heroes will show up. We know Batman's dead. We see his body, but where's Superman? What happened? What are we going to learn? Why was Diana in stasis in the Batcave?
I feel
like a clone. I think maybe a clone.
Oh, maybe. Because she does say she's weaker than she remembers she should be, and she does have some amnesia. I mean, she remembers who she is and who Batman is and stuff, but she doesn't remember why she was in the cryo sleep. She doesn't remember why she was in there, which might suggest clone, especially given that she is again physically a bit weaker. She's still strong, but she's not as strong as she remembers being.
Yeah.
I will say my guess right now would be that the catastrophe that did all this is probably one of the heroes, like maybe Superman himself. Something bad happened to him with maybe like a type of kryptonite or something, and he went supernova or something like that.
Could have been, yeah. That sunblast power that he has now.
Yeah, I would guess something like that. If not him, maybe Firestorm, or there's another maybe obvious choice.
No, I'm with you. It could have been like that. That wouldn't surprise me at all. But all these things I'm interested to find out.
Yeah. So, very intrigued. And likewise, Superman could still be around somewhere, potentially, if he's not dead, if he wasn't the one who caused the explosion.
Yeah, and we don't really know what the rest of the world's like. We barely know what the rest of America is
yeah,
like.
because they theorize that everywhere's like this, but they kind of point out that it's only where we have been we know is like this, which is not that much of an area, really, because they're all walking. It's not like they're...
Gotham's just that much of a crap hole. You get to Metropolis and it's fine.
Yeah. So no, and it has some good Wonder Woman beats because she's like, she forgives the guy who locked her up. So we'll still lock him up because he's dangerous, but no, I'm still going to help you even though you turned on me, because all humans deserve grace was I think the phrase. So,
and this is every other month, so next issue's in February.
Yeah, which makes some sense. So, what do you give it, Connor?
I'm just gonna give this a straight 8. Really enjoyable, solid.
Yeah, I'll give it an 8 as well. I thought it was pretty good.